Alrighty. Hello, everyone. This is NH837, joined by Pithy Morrow and Vazerik. And welcome to another episode of Top Deck Discussion, where we are going to discuss our favorite cards for one reason or another from Magic's newest set, Battlebond. So let's get right into it. Pithy is up first, so let's go ahead and start with him.
Glad to put one of the greatest cards printed of all time. Krav the Unredeemed. He had to be the first card I talked about.
Obviously.
So, I mean, he's a mere 5 mana for a 3/3. He partners with Regna, but that's not relevant. You pay a black, sacrifice X creatures, and target player draws X cards. No, target player as well. So you can play politics. But I assume you're not. You're playing this demon. And you gain X life and put X counters on Krav the Unredeemed. So basically, this card is 1 mana you can draw tons of cards with. He's gains you a bunch of life, which is very rare to be able to sacrifice creatures, draw cards, and gain life all in the same card. Plus, he also gives you +1 counters on himself. So he's a huge threat, basically just on his own. And I mean, it's just drawing a whole bunch of cards, getting to stack your creatures. It's just fun magic.
I don't know about fun, but
I mean, drawing
really
cards
powerful.
what you want to do.
It's
But
fair.
his partner is relevant with him, though. But you don't have to necessarily play her. Regna does have... She is 5 mana, so she does curve into Croft pretty nicely. They are both very expensive, though, for Commander. As commanders. But even just as together, they're still pretty good.
How do you feel about Regna in like a Darien style deck with warriors?
If you could find a way to consistently gain life, I think she could be really good. So you could have something like Angelic Chorus. So like you could just play a creature, gain life, and then each time you just gain life each turn. Something that's pretty cool. But I think even as just a life gain commander, she's actually pretty good. Because life gain really doesn't have any win conditions besides the 2 life gain cards that win you the game. So she gives you a win condition in that regard. But also just pairing up with Krav, you just draw ridiculous amounts of cards. And, it's just absurd. Plus, Requiem Angel as well in play. Because what she says is, whenever a non-spirit creature dies, make a 1/1 spirit. So these aren't spirits that she makes. She makes warriors. So each time you stack the warriors to Krav, you get 2 1/1 flyers as well. So you just kind of get a really big board really quick. Not to mention a lot of life cards and counters.
Yeah, note that Krav and Regna says at the beginning of each end step, so you could like sack a token every turn and just make 2 more.
So how you could start the chain is just draw a card on your turn and gain a life with Krav. And then you can basically just redraw. You can just basically have a singular wheel for yourself, but you get to keep your previous cards. So it's pretty good. Draw 7 cards and then 8 cards each go around is pretty powerful.
It's okay. Yeah.
But you do have to spend a lot of mana on these 2, but I think they're definitely worth it. Yep. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Not to mention Dictative Erebos and Grave Pact are magnificent cards to put into this deck.
Ooh, that's dirty.
So yeah, I will definitely be playing this. I've already pre-ordered 4 Kravs to go into every one of my black decks. So on to the next card, which is Archfiend of Despair. It's a good mana, as you know. 8 mana for a 6/6 flyer. Opponents can't gain life, and each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. So while this card is super expensive, there are a few decks that actually really like this card. So you could play this in a Shadowborn Apostle deck, for example. Not saying it's a good deck, but you could play it in there, and you could play stuff like Blood Artist and make sure that they like lose a lot of life whenever this comes into play. So you sack your Shadowborn Apostles, that each player loses 6, for example. You put Archfiend of Despair into play, and each lose total of 12, which is pretty disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the main reason this is on here is because I'm a Kaalia player, and this is pretty disgusting in Kaalia. Because all you play is big dumb creatures, and cheating in an Archfiend of Despair is pretty gross. Because you can just, pretty sure it was, you could just 16 someone if they have no blockers with Kaalia and Archfiend, just those two.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Archfiend, when I first saw it, it didn't really strike me as very good, and it is super expensive, but just, yeah, definitely taking a slot in pretty much every Kaalia deck known to mankind, I think.
Yep.
That would be mean. But
Sideboard tech against Zur. So, and the next card on the list, Regna's Sanction. So another thing to go with Krav and Regna. You have probably, I think, the most powerful friend or foe card.
I don't know about that.
Well, this allows you to just one-shot a player. Just kill them in one turn. So you pay 4 mana. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend gets a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control, and each foe chooses one untapped creature they control and then taps the rest. So you know that hated token player that you hate playing against, but you can't kill them. Well, now you have a way. You leave them that 1/1 blocker that they probably have, and then you kill them, pretty much.
Well, they do get to choose, though, the creature they leave untapped.
Tokens mostly has ones.
That is true. But what if they have a monstrous 100-handed one?
I'll Source to Plowshares it.
Oh, unlucky.
But I think this card's really good because if someone is like the biggest threat at the table, you could play politics and be like, hey, everybody, do you want counters? We can kill this one person over here. This guy who's been oppressing us for the entire game. Yeah, we could just straight up kill him right now.
That's pretty good.
And
that is a fact.
Well, if they have a way to go off on their
turn, pretty sure if
turn,
they're casting Doomsday, they're probably winning the game that turn, though.
Yeah. Well, it depends if they're the first-time Doomsday player.
That is true.
They could really just screw up and they just die straight up. Okay, so on to the next card. Thrilling Encore. Probably one of my favorite black cards, second to Krav, from the set. 5 mana. It's an instant, which is really relevant. Put onto the battlefield under your control all creatures in all graveyards that were put there from the battlefield this turn. So you get a Rise of the Dark Realms for only creatures that died this turn for 5 mana at instant speed.
It's pretty good.
So, again, another card that goes into Krav and Regna. You could play the Grave Pact, Dictative Erebos, sacrifice your mere 3 or 4 creatures, and get everything back for 5 mana, which is pretty insane. Also, what I like is this is board wipe protection. So let's say you're a deck that really hates being board wiped. Like, literally, you just lose the game after you get board wiped. You play Thrilling Encore, and they had to have another board wipe in order for them to actually deal with you again.
Plus, you get all the other creatures that died as well.
Yes. Which is pretty gross.
Ooh.
Yep.
It would be good.
Would be amazing. Also, I love the flavor text of this card. I think it's the best flavor text from the whole set. Welcome to the winning team. Which is pretty good.
I guess my one problem with this card is that it's 5 mana, so it is a bit clunky to like set up with sack combos and stuff. But I don't know.
Well, you could do like a free sacrifice outlet. You could just have Viscera Seer, Dictative Erebos, and one like a board of 1/1s. So let's say you have thralls, for example, and you could just sack all those thralls, kill all of your opponent's creatures, and get them back for only spending 5 mana.
That is true.
But I mean, it is definitely expensive, and if you do want to leave up 5 mana each turn to make sure your board doesn't die, it will definitely hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Another good old favorite. There's 4 cards here with Regna in it. So Together Forever is a double white and has support 2, which I guess it's fine. But what the best part about this card is 1 mana, 1 singular mana, choose target creature with a counter on it. Doesn't matter what counter it is. So it could be +1/+1 counter, could be, I don't know, some just random counter.
Mm-hmm.
And when that creature dies, return that card to its owner's hand. So this card is definitely very good at protecting against board wipes. Or if you're doing a sack thing as well, you could have stuff like, what is it? Machias Unhallowed, which you sack creature gets Undying, or has Undying, so it comes back with +1/+1 counter. Then you could sack it again with Together Forever and return it to your hand. And you basically do that. Or there is a fantastic infinite combo with this card.
Oh god.
The mere 1 mana Arcbound Worker with Ashnod's Altar is an infinite combo. So you get infinite death triggers on that. So that means all you have to do is have a Super Cutthroat Blood Artist or what is it? Falconwrath Noble.
Yeah.
In order to just win the game. So it's basically a really janky 4-card combo, but you could do it. It's Commander. Definitely.
Another great combo with this card. Oh, go for it. Ooh, that is true. Ornithopter aggro. Here we come. But yeah, my main combo with this card has to be with Cauldron of Souls. Just give all the creatures persist, and then they die, and then okay, well now any creature that dies is just gonna come back on in my hand. So yeah. I think that's really good. Yep,
and this is also just good card to play in +1/+1 counter decks. Because it's just a value card, right? You get 2 +1/+1 counters if you have 2 creatures in play, and you get to save your creatures from dying, which is something that's good. So I think this card definitely will see play, if not just in +1/+1 counter decks, but in the janky Arcbound Worker combo deck.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're talking about D-tutors for just Arcbound Workers.
Oh my god. Brea just got a new combo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. The biggest blowout of all time.
You're just boom, 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 boom. Kill all my creatures, that's fine.
As we all know, Tetsamok is such a heater in Commander.
Yep. Best card ever printed, right?
Yes, for sure. I played him. I know firsthand how good he is. And the answer is he is not good.
Alright, so the only red card, or quote, red card on my list is Nalia, the Blade Blossom, and actually I don't know how to say her name, but whatever. 3 mana, 3/2. Whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking. And, if that wasn't good enough, you can play Wooburg to untap all attacking creatures. It also says all attacking creatures, not just your creatures. So you can do politics with killing a player on someone else's turn. They get Trample, Lifelink, Haste until end of turn. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Activate this ability only during your combat. So, yeah, she is probably just one of the more powerful 3-drops ever printed. Not only does she make tokens to kill you with, she makes it to where you can just, extra combat. Plus, they Trample, Lifelink, Haste. Jesus, that's a lot of words.
Yeah. Sure. We were discussing a little earlier about how this card is just better than Alesha, so many reasons. And I think the main one is that not only does it give you warriors, that it's also 5 colors, which is great.
Mm-hmm. And and also the relevant text says whenever a warrior attacks, not non-token warrior. Mm-hmm. So each of the warriors she makes can make another warrior token, which is pretty disgusting. And there's also, if you had to know, there's an infinite combo with her as well.
Mm-hmm.
You had to play a Phyrexian Altar, which is sack a creature, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So you sack a mere 5 creatures from your probably 1,000 that you have to take infinite combat steps.
Huh.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
It definitely is very
good. Yeah, Nihila or Nihila or whatever, comments below how to pronounce his name. Very, very, very good card. I like, just from the go when I saw this card, I thought it was amazing, and it's only gotten better in my opinion ever since. Very good.
Mm-hmm. So the last card on my list is Virtuous's. I don't even know how to say his name either. It's like so weird. Maneuver.
Virtues
Maneuver.
Yeah.
3 mana. For each player, you choose friend or foe. For each friend, each friend returns a creature card from the graveyard to their hand. Each foe sacrifices a creature they control. So what this card reminds me of is Barter in Blood, or Innocent Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Where you make everybody sack a creature. Which is very powerful because for a mere 3 mana, you can kill 3 creatures. You know, or 1 mana, you kill 4 creatures, which is pretty good in Commander. But something that's relevant about this card is, well, it doesn't have the power of killing more creatures like Barter in Blood can. It can get a creature from your graveyard back to your hand. Or, let's say you do have a Dictative Erebos in play, you can make yourself, like label yourself as foe, and make you sack creatures. Sack a creature to, because it doesn't say, it just says each player.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, opponents or whatever. So something that's very interesting to think about that.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Okay, Virtues.
Virtues.
This is probably the only card we'll ever see with his name in it, though.
Yeah, card's great. Mass sack is great. Returning creatures is great. The card is great.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Those were Pithy's 8 cards of choice to talk about from Battlebond. And next we move on to myself. So my cards are interesting, and I chose them all for a specific reason. So I'm going to start with Spellseeker. 2 and a blue for a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an instant or source to a CMC 2 or less. Reveal it, put in your hand, then shuffle. Blue is not known for its tutor effects. You've got like Personal Tutor, Mystical Tutor, and yeah, that's basically it. And like maybe long-term plans. So having Spellseeker as just another tutor is amazing. The main reason I chose this card, like obviously this card's good in Commander. I do play Brawl in Commander. Talk about that a little more when I talk about another card that you see. And that's going to go in. But Legacy, all these cards are legal in Legacy and Vintage, and I think Spellseeker definitely has the most potential of the set in Legacy or Vintage. Just this kind of tutor power level you don't see very often. It just reminds me of Impure Recruiter or Recruiter of the Guard, just with instant sorcery, just like a blue-based version. I do play Miracles, for example, in Legacy, and this card definitely caught my eye. It's a, hey, this can tutor up a Ponder or a Counterspell, or like a Predict if I need more card, Brainstorm, just stuff like that. I don't know if it'll be good enough, but it definitely has a lot of potential. So keep your eye on this one. I think it's very good.
Yeah, and I think this card is just great in Commander because most of the playable counterspells sit at 2.
Mm-hmm.
You have Cyclonic Roof, which is 2. You have every single cantrip in blue is in 2 or lower. So it's basically, oh, well, I'll get a mana drain. or I'll get Ponder. Maybe I'll get a Daze just because I feel a little frisky today. I do think that this probably is the most playable card for Vintage and Legacy because, was it the Time Walk, right?
Yeah.
And Ancestral Vision,
pretty good.
Or not Ancestral Vision, Ancestral Recall.
Pretty good.
And I'm pretty sure this actually is probably better with Daze in Vintage and Legacy than it is in Commander. And then let's just let you get so many good cards from this and that. And it's pretty insane. Just for 3 mana, you can just get one of the best cards in Commander, which is Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
very,
also
very good.
Some of the most powerful cards in Magic in Legacy, or in Vintage.
So, next is my personal favorite card from the set, Pier's Whim. I think the most powerful friend or foe card. Maybe not the most powerful, but definitely going to be the most played.
Yes.
So 3 and a green. For each player, you choose friend or foe. Each friend searches for a land, not basic land. Puts on the battlefield, tap, shuffles, and each foe sacks an artifact or enchantment. So, if you're out there and you've never played Commander before, there's no sideboards in Commander. It's a 1-game format usually. So everyone needs to have main deck hate for artifacts and enchantments because everyone plays them. It's just part of the game. Soul Ring is in every Commander deck. Known to Mankind. You got like Rhystic Study. Everyone has a problematic artifact or enchantment that you should deal with, and everyone has a land they want to tutor up, whether it's a Gaia's Cradle or Tabernacle of Pendrevale or Cabal Coffers, or even
a basic forest,
like a basic land. Yeah, just some ramp or a command beacon. Just everyone has a land that they want to go get. So this is a very politic card. You can play it on turn 4 for some ramp, or you can just save it for later in the game. Like, hey, you really pissed me off earlier, so you could sack your Rhystic Study. Well, we're all going to go get the most powerful land out of our deck. Enjoy. I think this card's amazing. Has a lot of politic potential. Just all around great.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite green card from the set. Just because it does have, like, it's literally has no downside to playing this card. Either you wipe away 3 artifacts or enchantments and get a land for yourself, or make a friend and give them a really good land from their deck and hate out on the other 2 players if you want. So it's definitely very good political card. People love lands in Commander. I'll confirm that. Whenever you miss your land drop, it feels real bad, and then your buddy is like, hey, you want a land? And you're like, oh boy, I'm your friend forever, okay?
Indeed. All right. My next one is brings out a bit of the chaosy side of me. Last one standing. 1 black-red. Choose a creature at random, then destroy the rest. My latest modern deck is Hollow One. I love playing Cardboard Roulette, and this is definitely fits into that. So imagine you're in a red-black deck or a chaos deck, and hey, I want a fun board wipe. I don't want to play like Decree of Pain or Wrath of God or Damnation or just all these generic kind of wraths. Let's have some fun. And you want to cause a monkey fiesta if you're playing this in paper, roll out some dice. Card's just really fun and amazing. Just, okay, or let's just, like, everyone has a problematic creature. Who gets lucky and wins this game? Just, I love it. Just the randomness of it is great. Good card.
Mm-hmm. I like it because 3 mana sweep the whole board except for 1 creature, and you could actually get out super ahead from this. You wipe the whole board, and you get to keep your best creature, which is something that's really cool. Or you could literally just make someone, the arch enemy of the game, give them the most powerful creature on board that didn't die, because you're just like you're RNGing here. You're playing Hearthstone, so it's something that's pretty cool.
Jay, you have any thoughts? Absolutely.
And another cool thing with Last One Standing is you can play this in combination with Thrilling Encore. And you
true.
can just get all those creatures that died. You had to pay a whopping 7 mana, or actually 8 mana, But you can do it, I believe. And it's pretty awesome because the goblin is in the same art in both cards.
That is
the
true.
same one.
So my next card on this list, definitely the least impressive of the ones you see here, but worry not. This card has earned a place in my Brawl mono blue counterspell tribal deck. So Out of Bounds, 3 and a blue with assist counterspell. Basically, you get to abuse the crap out of this card with other players. Oh, look, I get to leave up 1 blue. Somebody plays a really dramatic, like, horrible spell. Oh, well, there's the other friend. Hey, you want to count this for me for 3 mana? Because if you don't, we're going to lose this game. But I only have 1 blue available, so... Huh. And also, Brawl does reduce the cost of this, so that helps too. But this card's very, very politic. Oh, well, you pissed me off earlier once again, so we're going to team up now. We're going to counter your spell. Or this could just be a 4-mana counter spell, a little wonky, nobody wants to help you counter anything, which just happened. But the upside is so high on this card. If you want to play politics, it's great. Great card.
Mm-hmm. I really
also,
like it too.
Heater in I Tribal. Earned a place.
Probably one of the better I Tribal cards.
Agreed.
Yeah, it is definitely very good because it gives. So let's say the white player or black player, so something that doesn't have counters, really wants to be able to deal with this card, but they don't have a way to be able to deal with it because obviously it's like a sorcery, and only counterspell white has, or 2 counterspells white has, is a memory lapse, and a mana tithe. So
Frontline medic.
Well, it's not an X spell.
Oh, you're right.
So it gives them a chance to be able to, the blue player gets to be able to politic with the white player and say, hey, you got 3 mana available. You want to help me counter the spell because it hurts you just as bad as it hurts me. And then you go with that. And it's like, yep, sure, I'll pitch in my extra mana and whatnot.
All right. So the next card, Generous Patron. I have found the card that makes Tetsamok playable in Commander. I'm sure there are a million other ways you could make it better, but yeah, Generous Patron. 2 and a green for a 1/4 with an enter support 2, and whenever you put 1 or more counters on a card or a creature you don't control, draw a card. So there are many counters in this game. There are many, many kinds of counters. There are bribery counters all the way to flame counters and divinity counters and loyalty counters. Sorry. All this kinds of counters. And it doesn't specify which kind of counter. Just any counter. Any counter in your deck. You draw a card. So let's say you have a Tetsamok. 1 black, you put a Doom counter on something. Or a Prey counter, or whatever kind of counter it is. I'll draw a card. Or you could play like a card that puts divinity counters on something. Or hunt counters. Or like a Guafa Hazid, like put bribery counters. Just this card is so abusable. I don't really know what the right shell is. Maybe I don't think mono green is right for it for sure. Like if you're playing 1/1 counters, this is not the card for you because you don't really want to be putting 1/1 counters on your opponent's creatures. But I mean, hey, if you want to and turn it into draw 2 cards from green, you can. But card's very good. A lot of abusable potential.
So, I think this is just good as a 3-mana divination for green. If you just wanted to draw 2 cards, it's actually pretty good for that because it's also a 1/4, so it can pretty much block whatever you put the counters on. Because you're not gonna put them on a threatening creature; you put them on a really small creature. The shell that I would see this in would be like a group hug type Feldergriff deck, like a Bant deck would fit really good with this because Bant is better focused on counters. And another one would be a Experiment Kraj, which you can put a counter on a creature and gain its activated abilities. So what you could do is you could put a counter on one of your opponent's creatures and you draw a free card and get an activated ability off of that. There's also a few other cards that if you wanted to delve really deep, you could put a bounty counter on something and draw a card. So you could have Mathis or good old bounty hunter himself and draw cards off of that stuff. So it's actually very powerful in that thing.
And I forgot to mention the best card with Generous Patron is Orzhov Advocus. The one from the Commander set, right at the beginning of your upkeep, you put counters on opposing creatures and they can't attack you. Have this with this card, you put counters on 3 other creatures, you draw 3 cards on your upkeep. Insane combo. Forgot to mention that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it says you put. Does Orzhov Advocus?
I believe it does.
Let me look it up.
But if it doesn't, that'd be unfortunate. But if it does, that would be a pretty sick. Oh, okay. That's unlucky.
Okay.
Never mind.
Never mind.
But still, I got close. If that worked the way that I thought it did, oh doggy, that'd be insane.
Free cards.
All right, moving on though. Zender Split, Eye of Wisdom. I'll talk about these cards one at a time before I talk about them together. So this is a 4 and a blue, 5 mana 1/4. At the beginning of your combat or your turn, flip a coin until you lose. Whenever player wins, draw a card. So first and foremost, the legendary Eye Tribal deck. No, enough said. But actually talking about this card, it's pretty great. Now I'm going to talk about Akun, because I'm going to come back to the display, because these cards really have to be together. For 4 and a red, same mana cost for a 3/3. At the beginning of your combat, flip a coin until you lose. Whenever a player wins, double its power and toughness. So you have these together. Just at the beginning of your combat, you trigger both. You flip coins, you double power and toughness, you draw cards. Even just Zender Split on its own, you could play it by itself. You just move the combat. Blue players are super greedy. They want more card draw. They always want more cards in their hand. So just play this as a 1/4 that draws cards every combat, potentially. And it could draw you, there is a chance of decking yourself with Zender Split, I guess. But that would be pretty impressive, not going to lie. If you could delve really deep, if you're playing these together, and play, Grip of Chaos, and I believe that's the card, and Krark's Thumb, and just all these coin flip synergies, all those price spikes, because of these, really opens up a coin flip commander, which is super sweet, because who doesn't love flipping coins in Magic? Like a card game, and you get to flip coins and roll dice, and it's awesome. And then you could even one-shot somebody with Akun. It's just okay, well, I'm going to choose heads and with Krark's Thumb, and oops, now it's a 60-60 attack. That seems like it's pretty good. So yeah.
So first of all, I'm going to point this out. So for some reason, Akun changed his skin color in the arts of Zender Split. But on a real term,
I think we were looking through it through the blue lens, so everything looks blue.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha.
Because if you notice, Zender Split's also green in Okun.
Yeah, it might just be different people looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird. But something that's very interesting with these cards is, so it says whenever a player wins the coin flip.
Ooh, true.
So even just having Planar Chaos or anything that makes people flip coins gets you these guys' effects, if they win, which is really cool. Plus, old Ral Zarek can go pretty well into this deck. You can, if you have Krark's Thumb, you can take, possibly 7 turns in a row.
Pretty good.
It's pretty powerful, yes. Also, these are the first coin flip commanders or legendaries ever printed. So they are literally the only options you have for playing coin flips.
Also, Mana Crypt.
I don't know if you want to play that in this deck. You probably just die.
If you're playing coin flip, you gotta bank on RNGesus being with you, anyways.
I guess so, yes. But these are really cool cards. The first Homunculus Legend, which is also very important. So you can build your Homunculus deck with the 6 Homunculus in Magic. But it is definitely something I think is really fun, and I would definitely love to try these guys out. Unfortunately, you can't just play Zender Split by himself, or by herself, actually, it's a she. Because there's not that many blue coin flip cards. They're all in red, or in Izzet. Yes,
if you were to play these cards by themselves, they would definitely be in the 99. There's no reason to play these cards. by themselves. There are other blue commanders that draw cards better and other mono red commanders that deal damage better, but together they are insane.
We ship them as a couple.
Yes, absolutely.
Eyes for days.
I tribal. They're both in.
Mm-hmm.
And last on my list, the only common to appear so far, and I believe on the entire list. Yes, on the entire list. Huddle Up. Blue, 2 generic, with assist, 2 target players each draw a card. So this card reads, blue, you draw a card. You draw 2 cards, basically. Because I guarantee you, the vast majority of players in Commander, if you tell them, leave up 2 mana, you could draw 2 cards, they will do it. And you could just pay 1. Like, guaranteed 99% of the time. Because they're not going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to pay and draw 2. Like, no, that's dumb. It's free divination. Why would you not want these 2 cards? And for you, it's basically a 1 mana draw 2. It's reduced almost incest.
It's draw 1.
Oh, it's draw 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Not as good, but still.
But it's definitely good to play politics with someone, to make someone your friend. Mm-hmm. You each both get a card, so you get ahead and your buddy gets ahead too. Something that's pretty interesting. Also, it has the Planeswalker twins here.
Yep. Will and Ron Kenrith.
Which is interesting.
But yeah, even though it's not 2 cards, my bad, instead of 1, it is still good. Like, very good. Most players will still pay 2 mana to draw a card. Like, why wouldn't you?
Especially the white player.
Oh, yeah.
They will pay 50 mana if they could draw a single card. Because they have no card advantage.
The people who hurting for those cards, just empty. Like, well, I mean, I'll do this. Like, okay, so basically it's cycles for you, and it's great. It's a great card.
It actually doesn't even cycle because you don't even lose a card.
Very true. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's it for me. And now we're on to Vay's chosen cards. So why don't you go ahead and start? No, you cannot.
It says 2 target.
It's 2 target, so you have to target 2 different things. Mm-hmm. Ooh. That's unfortunate.
Yep. And definitely another good card to add into Storm. Because you like to cast a whole bunch of cards, you just be like, oh, boom, 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 you're dead. You know, everyone's dead. And then I'll cast Grapeshot for fun, just because I want to. So, it's pretty cool.
Very good. It's pretty good. Yeah, going back to Kavor's Fury, also great politics. All these Friends of Folk cards, great politics. Somebody's hurting, or they're packing a lot of heat in their hand. Like, oh, those are gone now.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I'm a big fan. All the Friend of Folk cards really hit home for me. And this one, the one we didn't talk about is Zender Split's Judgment, but that one's not very good.
It's the least powerful out of the ones. But it's still a fun card to play, I think, because it does copy creatures, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll return one creature to, or my one.
But even then, like, they're all very good. I think that Wizards hit a home run with the friend or foe mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you can continue. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hang on.
Yeah.
50 wants to say something about Morpho Pool.
So the thing is with these lands is what I like is they take away basically every deck that played Pain lands wants to play these lands because Pain lands do have the downside of dealing you damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 1 damage is minor, but I take damage when you don't need to, right?
They add up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And unless you want to specifically use it for the colorless mana, most of the time you're going to pick the Morphic Pool cycle. And like the only downside to this card is that if your other 2 opponents are dead, like if 2 of your opponents in Commander are dead, and it's just 1v1, that's like the only problem with it. But like even then, it's like the only problem would be like if you need specifically 1 untapped land and you draw this, you're just like, oh.
Plus, they're probably going to be cheap, so just auto dual land into every Commander deck ever.
Mm-hmm. I guarantee you won't say play in Vengeance and Legacy at all.
Guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. Gotta cast my Emrakul the Promised Land on curve.
Yeah, that is something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the things I like about this is that it doesn't say creatures, because what it does say is players can't cast spells of the chosen type. So you could just build a full creature deck and have this, and it has no downside to it. It doesn't hurt you at all, and you can, let's say, it's very versatile because you can be like, oh, well, this is my only creature, so I want to name Instance. I don't want it to be killed by a 1 mana removal spell or something. Force them to cast something for more mana, use it on their turn. Or like, let's say you have a huge board and you really don't want a board wipe. Well, you name sorcery, so then you don't get majority of the board wipes or sorceries, which is very good. Plus, if you really hate Planeswalker decks, Planeswalker decks like Atraxa, I'm pretty sure they just scoop to this card if they don't have a way to deal with it that's not Planeswalker related. And the poor affinity player in Commander,
poor Brea.
Brea will cry. Unless they have Brea in play, then they don't care. But it's definitely very good for only being 6 mana, considering the other effect like this is Iona at whopping 9 mana.
9, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And having and there's actually a perfect Celestia card too, because they like big dumb creatures most of the time. Like you could just play this in Shalai, for example, as just like a good creature. Well, flying, vigilance, trample, and hexproof. Can you deal with this opponent?
That's true. Yeah, Wani Constrictor.
Yep.
Loyalty counters. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think. Oh, obviously, Pier is far better than Toothy. Like Toothy is great. Together, they're great. But Pier is definitely going to see play outside of just his commander deck, because just the ability of loyalty. Like, okay, I'm going to play this in my Super Friend commander deck now, and now like doubling season and Pier. So, or like you don't even need doubling season, just play Pier, and now all your planeswalkers like enter and they get another counter. It's nasty. So I think Pier is very good. Toothy is not bad. Together they're great, but Pier is far better between them.
So something that's very important about Toothy's text. It says whenever he leaves the battlefield, not dies.
Ooh, that is true.
So as a commander, he's actually very good, because you don't have to toss him in the graveyard in order to draw your cards. Just whenever he leaves. Or it leaves. I don't know what the hell this thing is. But that's something that's very good there. Also, something that's relevant is they're both 1/1s. So there is a +1/+1 counter deck that is in Simic that cares about small power. And that is Azuri.
Ooh.
These two are, I would assume, would just be straight auto includes to Azuri.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pier just is like, oh yeah, an additional counter here, there, and then Toothy's just like, oh yeah, whenever I draw a card, I just get huge. And then you just put Azuri just puts counters on Toothy, so if they want to kill that card, it just refills your hand. So you want to kill it, but then you don't want to kill it, because then he gets more cards. So it's one of those things that these two are very good together, and they're both really good in +1/+1 counter decks like Azuri.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hepatra and Pier would not get along.
No, they would not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yeah. As long as it's not a token.
This card might break Commander. I don't know. Like, okay, 2 Crater Hoof Behemoths, please.
I think it might break Magic Online just because how many times it has
Also
a trigger.
Also true. But you're never activating this on your opponent. Like, you can be if you're like Politic, but oh my god, this card is so powerful. The potential on this card is insane.
Yeah, so something that's pretty busted with this card is so you could have Trostani in play, Rainbowwood Sovereign, and you play just a big fat token, or not token, creature, and then you make a token copy of it. So then now with Trostani, you can make a copy of that creature because
it's gross.
It is pretty nasty, yes. So what's better than 2 Crater Hoof Behemoths, right? 3 Crater Hoof Behemoths. So you could really hate that Trostani player. Just like, oh yeah, I've spent a lot of mana, but I insta killed every single one of you guys. I don't think it really matters. The only problem with this card is I don't think you ever want to use this card for your opponents. So having whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, I think that's just extra stuff that you don't really need. I mean, Intuited Giant, yes, it's great. If you're playing that, you can give your partner an extra copy of his or her creature, but I don't think outside of that it does anything else.
You're right.
Yeah. So you could kill their command, or you can kill the token copy of their commander.
Ideal. Yeah. Yep, very strong. I can imagine like you playing this in some kind of black or black X deck, or not mono black. You don't necessarily have to be demons. Playing this in a demon deck could work. Where you're like, maybe your play group has a lot of low to the ground things that's just super annoying. Like you have an elves player, just haha, nope. And also, it does turn the creature into a demon. So let's say the whole ground is just small. You save it, and it's just a really good Dune Blast. It's very powerful.
Yeah. One of the things I like is it is an aura that is an infest. So you're paying 1 more mana than an infest for a completely upside card. You get a +2/+2 on a creature, and it gets flying, so it gets evasion from it. And it's a demon, so it doesn't even get affected by the end of the battlefield effect. And you could really hose a lot of people's decks. It's actually really good for uncommon.
Yep, I agree. Very, very strong. So that is all the cards we felt like talking about for Battlebond. But Battlebond, we didn't talk about any of the reprints, obviously, because we know all those cards. These are just new. But make sure you share with us your favorite new card from the set, or maybe favorite reprint as well, and your plans to do with it down in the comments below. We'd love to hear about it. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for us today. This is NHA37, joined by Pithy Morrow and Vazeric. Thank you for discussing with us. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next time.